Welcome to Punchline Talks, the big interview sponsored by Infostar IT Solutions. Today, my special guest is Dorian Kirk. He's the co-owner and founder of Art Hospitality Group, and he is now the new owner of the reinvigorated and rebranded Dr. Foster's Waterside Bar and Restaurant at Gloucester Docks. Welcome, Dorian, to Punchline Talks.
Thank you so much, Mark, for having me on. It's going to be good fun.
Hey, great to see you again. Obviously, I was down there. We did a little video together. So, can you tell me, please, can you give us an overview of the Art Hospitality Group? How many people are there? What's the staff? What's the turnover?
Yeah, so Art Hospitality been going just over 10 years, started in Hereford. We spread out to Worcester and obviously now just opening Gloucester in the summer. And just currently in the works of opening a place in Birmingham as well. It started very organically and has now grown to a group that's very much focused on people, and it's chefpreneurs that is our biggest focus, which is working with chefs, raising them up, letting them realize their dreams by opening their own restaurants. Hence why we've got these different brands and concepts. So you obviously have to have a business that's really successful financially, but also we want to work with really fun, really creative, incredible people and give them a framework to be successful. So whether it's marketing, creative, all the rest of it. We currently employ, I actually lost track with this new opening and the new one opening in Birmingham, probably about 120, 140 staff. And turning over roughly at the moment, gross about 7.2 million. And it's going from strength to strength. We've obviously been through a big period of growth, and then COVID hit and sort of paused things. We had to adapt and be really dynamic. But now, in the years following COVID, was some of the toughest, with the fuel increase, no government support, etc. But I think now we've had a good couple of years of really building out the base with operations, the tech stack, which in restaurants is so vital with your rotary system, your EPOS system. There's so many different people to talk to, from finance all the way down to your KP washing up, that it all's got to sing, and there's so many invoices coming in every day. So I feel we've got a great board and a great handle of the business with these soon to be seven sites and the turnover we've currently got. It's really exciting.
So, who's on the board then? I know your brother is very closely involved in the company. Can you give us an overview of that as well?
Yeah, so the board currently made up. So it was me and my brother who started it originally. Another guy called John Stead, who was the original creative guy, he left in 2017. And Rupert Davison, sorry, I went to college with him when he had long drum. He's a drummer and had long hair down to his knees. Met him at 16, and we went and traveled Australia and worked in London together. And he came back a few years after we set up the company and worked his sort of sweat equity his way into a director too. Us three are the three key people. And then we've just taken on Adam Etney, who's a phenomenal creative director who also does all our marketing and creative work from his own company in Worcester. And he's actually brought into the top co. And then we've got Martin Zoller, who was our original general manager from the Bookshop restaurant back sort of 5 years ago. Now does all our finance. He's our finance director. Up in Edinburgh, works remotely, but knows the industry and the restaurant inside out. So he's gone through all the account training, which we helped him with. And then we got two people to keep us young bucks on the straight and narrow. Mark Gillespie, who's big finance, business acquisition sort of background. He's from Cheltenham. And then Terry Green, who his big claim to fame was check out, in post offices, check out number 4, please. That was his voice. And he created Qmatic, which was a queuing system that he sold to a worldwide company in the end. And recently he worked with, he's a chairman of the board of Marco Pierre White's Black and White group, the hospitality group, and also advised Dishoom, the fabulous Indian group, restaurant group, on their queuing system because they're so popular. So we've got a phenomenal team around us, and it's really exciting.
So, why Gloucester? Why Gloucester Docks? What did you see in the old Fosters on the docks? Because it's an iconic building
Yeah.
within the city, and let's be honest, it was pretty poor when you picked it up and spec'd it together, and
It
it was a
was.
sad state. I used to go there when I was a
Yeah.
young airman. So why Gloucester? Why that particular bar?
Well, it's funny. I pulled out an old sort of yearly plan that we had printed out on my desk at home, and it didn't have. It had Maneki too in Birmingham, but it didn't have Dr. Foster's on our projected turnover. So it really came left field. It's in February on my birthday actually. I got pushed this sales brochure, Sydney Phillips, I think it was, and I thought, oh, that looks a fascinating location on the water. And Gloucester, in terms of the M5 corridor for Worcester and Hereford and where we want to grow to, we want to use M5 corridor as our sort of capital city, as it were. So we're sort of our restaurant's going to be dotted around that corridor. Yeah, we viewed it. I was sort of a keen, but then slightly apprehensive. But then I showed the rest of the core team, the area managers, my brother, and everyone got really excited about the challenge. And feeling that the docks is really up and coming in Gloucester, and we could see all the raw potential. I mean, look at it's beautiful with the old warehouse with the woodwork, the bricks, this gorgeous conservatory overlooking the dock. And we thought it's such a crying shame that it's not loved and utilized. Like you said, it's a real state when we got it. I mean, it was filthy and it sunk a lot more money in than we originally anticipated. But I think
Yeah, how much? Let's go back to that. How much money have you pumped into? I know we kind of covered it
well, I think it was
before, and how
about
long was the build?
350 originally, but I think now looking at it, about 380, I think in total now. I mean, it's a lot of money. Um, and it took, but we sort of turned it around in 3 months. And that was a hindsight lesson that we probably should have negotiated better on our lease in terms of rent free to get open and taken a bit longer on it and given ourselves more time to advertise that we're opening, etc. Because you see this location and think, oh, you're going to be mobbed straight away. But someone like Gloucester, people need to know that you're first of all come and give you a try, whether it's a beer or something first. Just are they guys worth their salt? They might say they're good, but are they really good? And then they have to come in try that, and then they'll come back maybe a month later to try some food. So it's not an overnight thing. And but we're really starting to see the corner turn. We're really starting to see regulars, people coming in for all the different events we're putting on it, and it feels really exciting. It feels like we're at that really great time now of, the hard initial bit of opening, and it just you can see it now growing, which is really exciting.
Now, over in the corner there years ago, that used to be the pool table, and which many a happy time spent around there. I can tell you now, or not so happy. What type of food is it, and the decor? Where does that come from? Because the bar is it's similar, but it's not.
So
For
the
people to
bar,
know historically.
yeah, so we kept the actual location of the bar. We just obviously put some beautiful paneling on it, zinc wrapped it. I guess I guess the look is like taking inspiration. Gloucester's in the Cotswolds, but we didn't want to be too polished, too over. We want people to feel really comfortable coming in for a beautiful ale and a fish and chips, as well as having a three-course dinner. So it's got to feel clean, thoughtfully designed, cozy in areas. That's a beautiful thing about this pub. You've got the cozy bar, you've got the beautiful conservatory that's light and airy. You've got this top area, the restaurant, which is fantastic. It's got its own bar up there as well. You can see, 150 up there or something. It's got all these different areas, so you can experience a pub in lots of different guises. But the menu is very much centered around our key principle, which is using the best quality local produce. Everything's cooked from scratch in house. Obviously the pub classics you can imagine, like fish and chips, sausage and mash, done exceptionally well. But all our steaks, dry aged, cooked over coals. We've got a charcoal oven. Uh, and then a few flares from our chef, some beautiful fish dishes. Yeah, it's just a really well thought out menu that serves everyone, from a relaxed pub lunch through to having a more of a three-course dinner for a longer period. So, but done and costed, I feel, in a way that's really approachable to all our customers who want to attract in Gloucester.
So let's just talk about the business side of things, because obviously, you're split over lots and lots of different sites. You've got 140 staff, so a lot of mouths to feed. Hospitality is extremely difficult business to make money, especially with what the Chancellor has done the other day. I don't know if you want to chat about that, because that's actually barking if you ask me. I'm sure
Yeah,
you've got something to say about that, Dorian. Cost of everything's going up. How do
yeah.
you manage all that, and what's the biggest lesson you've learned over the last years that you've been doing this?
Um, it's incredibly intense. And I think we've managed to, like I said about the board, we managed to build a team to make us pull us off. Not only have we picked hospitality, which is the hardest business, but we've picked multiple brands in multiple small cities that don't necessarily have huge footfall, and we've picked tertiary locations. Like, okay, the Dr. Foster's is probably in the most prominent location out of any of our sites, but it still hasn't got streams of people walking past, has it? So I think we've pulled off a feat that's really hard because I'm actually now incredibly passionate and proud of all the offerings we offer from the sourdough pizza joint, the burger joint. Like everyone, I think is uniquely great and can be rolled out in its own right as a great food offering in that sector, whether it's pizzas, burgers, the brasserie, the pub. Um, so it, to put it mildly, a lot of hard work. It feels like I'm on all the time. But because we've got this team around us, I want to. The key thing that our guys on our board keep telling us: try and enjoy the journey. Because before you know it, you'll look back and go, "Oh, where's it all gone?" Because it's exciting. We get to wake up every day and design restaurants, work with new chefs. Like that's a really amazing place to be. But the key thing is people. Like we have got phenomenal people around us. Like the operations, Liam and Holly, our two area managers. My God, they manage this team of managers from different restaurant concepts and manage to rota for them, budget the weekly sales forecast, and keep them all on track with great reviews across the board. It's yeah, I pinch myself sometimes with what great people we've attracted. But I think that's how we come across also as business leaders. I think we are really fair and create a really great work environment. So yeah.
What would you say, Dorian, was the biggest mistake that you made in business?
Uh Potentially pushing too quickly for our second burger shop site in Worcester when we weren't ready, didn't have the cash flow. It put a lot of pressure on us. Um, and maybe even potentially running headfirst into Dr. Foster's without having a proper costed building plan and not really asking the hard questions and getting too excited by the idea of it being finished, thus overrunning by 150 grand from our original. That's cash flow is 101, isn't it? If you don't have cash, you can't grow. It's all about keeping your cash flow alive. So those probably being too like, oh, it's fine, let's just go for it. I think the bigger we get, we can't just rely on the fact our brute force and work ability can get us through things. So definitely that. We're learning now how to really line things up properly and have a plan for every opening. But yeah, those are
And
probably
let's just talk about your journey then, if that's okay. So where we, covered where you are, and so let's go back to where were you born, Dorian? Where are you from originally?
actually born on a small Scottish island called Jura. When I was 10 days old, moved to Islay. My dad was a decorator. Him and three hardy Scotsmen turned a whole crofters village on Islay into an actual village. It's called Carnduncan. The main town smelt of whiskey the whole time. Obviously, seven of the best distilleries in the world are on Islay. Um, yeah, and my one of my brothers born in California, the other one in Peckham in London. So my parents are sort of traveling hippies, really. But yeah, we moved back to Hereford when I was 6 to go to the Steiner School. I'm a Steiner boy, and my mum has taught at the Steiner School the whole way through, which I think been a great education. I've got three small girls now, 2 years old to coming on 6. Um, and yeah, that's sort of where I was born and when I came to Hereford.
So did you go to university? Did you go straight into the workplace? Because started as a chef, didn't you? Because I've got a nice photograph of you when you were younger. Let me just share the screen here if I can find
Oh,
that.
that was
Find the
actually
the pic. Let's bring it up. There you go. So you on the right there.
That's me on to the side. Yeah, that's Rupert in the middle, one of the executive chef director of the company now. So that was actually our first year of business as an art group. But we started in kitchens at 14. Worked in a restaurant called Doodie's, which was the best restaurant at the time in Hereford. No longer there. Um, and Rupert actually, I met him at college at 16. He came and worked with me at Doodie's. We then worked with each other in Australia at Bill Granger's in Darlinghurst. We then went to London and took in turns being each other's head chefs at different restaurants and working under other head chefs. So we've had a really close relationship. He's got three small girls as well. So it's been a great he's been a rock throughout. He didn't start the business with us originally, but he came on board sort of 3 years later. Um, but yeah,
And
my
let's be honest, when you're a chef, Dawn, don't know, because obviously I was a chef as well, and we talked about this before. There is this sort of bond together,
yeah
isn't there? There's this thing where you finish at the end of a really hard shift where you think, my God, but you've all got the adrenaline running, and it's
yeah, and
all
you're going through the
massive.
wall together, aren't you? Like a busy service where you're, and it's called, I've forgotten his name, it's on the tip of my tongue, but the book is called System D, where on a Saturday night shift, you might drop the pan of gravy that's the one to finish all this specialist dish, and you've got to pull something out of nowhere and make it happen. And that's called System D. And the amount of times we've been in kitchens and services where you're really on the edge, but you make it through, and that is the camaraderie that you build, and the hours you do together are longer than sometimes with your family, So it's yeah, really powerful bonds for sure.
And you're also working through sort of Christmas, you're working through New Year because they're the key time. Everybody else is
Yeah,
off and enjoying yourself. And let's be honest, the clientele nowadays has never been harder. The customer,
yeah.
let's be honest, the customer has never been more oh, pernickety. They know their rights. They know they question everything. The price of everything has gone up. It's let's be honest, the customer is sometimes the
Oh,
problem. They're the joy, but they're the problem too.
the joy and the problem. Yeah, I think it's always a big focus every day in our business is looking at our overall review score. We and touch wood every week it's around it's really good. It's like 4.7 or 8 every week, which is phenomenal. Sometimes when we get bad reviews, depending on how bad it is, one of us founders will probably phone them personally and invite them back because we're not going out of our way. Like, we're trying to run a business here. We're not going out of our way to actually intentionally annoy someone. It's just ridiculous. I wish they'd. I think the thing that people don't realize is how tough this industry is, how intense it is, and how little the margins are. And if they knew all that and what you have to do, and they think, oh, it's an expensive bottle of wine, but they don't know the work that has to go on to produce that plate of food and put it in front of you and give you a seamless service, it is eye-watering. And you'll be lucky walking away with 5 to 7% profit is a really good place to be in this industry. And my God, it's hard. And people don't know why us hospitality people stick at it, but we do because there's a love for giving people experience and creating amazing spaces. Um, so yeah, I think my biggest ask for any customers is think how hard it is. Please just email them personally. We don't mind critical feedback, but we can sort it and we'd love to have you back to try again because we're not going out of our way to make you not like our venue because we need you to come in to pay the bills.
Let's talk quickly about the budget because that was only a couple of days ago, and we both shook our head here.
Oh,
National insurance going up. Let's be honest. Let's have your. My view is a car crash for hospitality, but I don't work in that area. You tell me. I don't want to put words in your mouth.
I was talking to some restaurateurs, very fine dining, highly accoladed, which I know well. They're seriously thinking of closing down their 3 restaurants in Birmingham and leaving the country. Uh, it's shocking. It's sad. We are in a state of growth. I think we're in a really good place because people are always going to want to eat out, but we've got to keep working hard on our marketing to make sure they come to us. I think it's going to be 9 months potentially of bloodbath for a lot of the people who haven't. Like, if we're in a stage where we only had the one site without all the support, my God, or just opened a second site without the support framework that we've got around us, I think it's very scary times for people. I think we calculate it might cost us another between 2,000 2,700 per employee per year. Look at our amount of staff we've got. That is a lot of money and that's just wiped off your profit. So we're going to have to increase our prices. Now, are people ready to pay that much more for food eating out? So we never ever increase our price as much as inflation is growing because people won't pay 20 quid for a burger. Like they just won't, or 25 quid. People won't pay that for a pie. So we've got to keep swallowing some of those costs to keep people feeling coming. We want it to be busy. We need to be busy all the time. So it's a really hard art to keep increasing it enough. But
Well, I just worked that out. That's £378,000 extra that you have to make just to stand still.
insane.
What it was.
That's insane. And so for us to just keep treading water, we'd have to put our price up by that much, which you wouldn't be huge amounts across dishes, but people notice that. But then to try and then if there's going to be more inflation with that, because that goes up, all the suppliers are going to put their prices up. So then all our ingredients go up. So then you've got to put your price up to cover that as well. It's I just think the Labour government are so in touch with the small SMEs. It's quite shocking actually. And the budget was read out in a way that we're doing you a favour by offering you 40% relief on business rates, but it was 75 for the last 3 years. So it's not increasing it. It's making it worse. It's insanity. So
And what about the minimum wage, national insurance contribution, and the minimum wage for hiring young people, 18-year-olds? You must hire a lot of those as well, Dorian.
yeah, yeah, we do. We got all sorts, all the way through from, 15, 16-year-olds doing a few days a week to 45, 50 plus, whatever. It's going to affect everyone. And again, I'm not saying people don't deserve more. We say to our staff all the time, this is a tough business. It's long hours, it's weekends, but we try and give their give them such a great reason to be part of it, to see career growth because we're growing business, to give them great food perks or whatever it might be on shift, etc., and support them financially if they need it, if they're going through a tough time personally. We're really, because people are the driving force of our business. But there comes a point where government are dictating how we run our business and how we reward people and pay them through wages when the rest of the country isn't catching up is insanity. And they're not listening to the hospitality experts or the lobbyists who are really pushing them, because every other European country it's about 10, 12% VAT for restaurants. Like that would go some way to I think hospitality is one of the backbone businesses of this whole economy of the country. It's the people who are really grinding it out and investing, and they should be looked after.
Yeah,
Just like
and
all
then,
the
let's be
FM.
honest, there's not a lot of money in the wet stuff, is there? There's not a lot of money in the beer and the spirits nowadays either. And whether they put on a penny on
That
take a
was
penny off a pint is
that was
just
gaslighting 101. I mean, come on, how that's insulting. Saying, I think the caption was sort of like you should all be out in the streets celebrating. And it's almost a slap in the face, a penny. I mean, come on. So yeah, I think they've misjudged the mood completely. I think they must be the most hated government in in history.
well,
Hey,
especially for the business community. If you're in the public sector, you're laughing because it hasn't affected you whatsoever in the public sector. But
no,
it will long term when the restaurants stop closing, the high streets have a knock-on effect. But hey, let's draw a line in the sand there because
yeah,
we only have so much time, and let's stay positive. Dorian, because we're both positive guys at the end of the day. Look, unfortunately, we are kind of running out of time. So I've got to ask you, how do you kind of relax? Have you got a hobby? I know you've got kids, you work all hours of the day. You probably like me, you work 60, 70 hours a week.
yeah.
We're both running our
I
own businesses. What do you
uh,
do to relax? Apart from the kids side, do you have a hobby?
I don't. I probably don't have one enough that I should be doing because I feel like I'm always on currently. Um,
Okay.
love spending
Well,
time with.
what do you listen to sort of music or read it? What's the last time you read a book and what
I
was it?
just read. Actually, I went on. I did have a great 2 week camping, and I read one of oh, what's his name? The Ghost Writes, but he did some of the Bond novels. Read one of his new.
Fleming,
Yeah, it's fantastic, and I've actually got another one on the go, which is so that yeah, a bit of reading. I love
music. What do you listen to music wise?
all sorts. I love actually currently because my kids love them sea shanties, lots of sea shanties to sing along to, but sort of
Well,
mild
you're right.
electronic.
You're in the right place for Gloucester, by the way, with
I
sea
know.
shanties. That's right.
But all sorts. I just don't like death metal. That's my line. But I love music. I love listening to music in the car as well. But listening to podcasts about self-development, I like to do a lot of self-development, thinking about how to better myself and how to be more in tune, with what I'm doing. So yeah, I enjoy that.
Well, unfortunately, we're kind of running out of road. Um, Dorian, what is your top three business tips?
So I think to run a successful business, you need to, especially as you get bigger, you have to do self-development, whether it's reading other people's failures and how they've learned things, but working on yourself to turn up as a better leader every day is one of the best things you can do. Invest in yourself because then you'll ultimately get more out of your people. Um, just grit and humility. I think, this the dark, cold Sunday morning when you get a call because the fire alarm's going off or the chef hasn't turned up and you've got to go in and do it. There is light at the end of the tunnel if you keep persevering at your what you want to do, you will get there. And that's a lot of separates the wheat from the chaff is literally perseverance and humility, just being humble with people around you, respecting other people's opinions and views. And the third one is always set yourself goals. I think you need a big, scary, audacious one, which is 20 years' time, I'm going to conquer the earth, whatever it might be. And then you need your short-term goals, which is this year, we're really focused on this. So when you have your meetings or you're getting your team together, you get them fired up for the short term because they won't see the long term. And then for yourself or your board, you have the long, big vision like, yes, we want to open 20 restaurants, we want to employ 10 chefpreneurs, whatever it might be. So those are my three
Okay, I'm
top.
going to ask you, what is your what is your long-term goal? Let's say very quickly. Long-term
It
goal, sir.
definitely to have a whole team of maybe 10 chefpreneurs with, 30, 40 restaurants, all singing and dancing, something like that. It needs to be more fine-tuned, but yes, along those lines.
Dorian Kirk, thanks ever so much for joining us today on Punchline Talks. Really, really enjoyed it. If you like the show, please like, share, and subscribe. And I'd just like to thank our sponsors, Infostar IT Solutions, as well. And remember, it's all in the punchline. Thank you. Bye.
Bye bye.